That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about The Day Shall Come, the sophomore feature by director Christopher Morris, which premiered earlier this year at the South by Southwest Film Festival and is about to be released in theaters courtesy of IFC Films on September 27th.
So this is an interesting film.
It's, I describe it as a black, absurdist political satire.
So when I read the plot description and watched the trailer, I was kind of like not interested.
Yeah, it took it some convincing.
Because I knew it would upset me. But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
The storyline it's timely and provocative, and ultimately, it doesn't end well, so it is something that's difficult to sit through. That being said, I think it's worth watching for the lead actor.
Marchánt Davis.
I thought he was
making
so
his debut.
good, so charming,
Yeah.
so funny. So it's worth it just to support him. I thought Danielle Brooks was really...
From Orange is the New Black.
From Orange is the New Black was really nice to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually playing kind of a sweet character.
Yeah. So it's worth it for that. It is a well-done film that is funny and provocative. But let's just tell the basic plot.
Basically, it's about a man named Moses, who I would call an affable schizophrenic,
Yes.
who's runs a Hebrew Israelite commune in Miami. He has 4 followers, and his anti-government sentiments on social media bring him to the attention of an FBI agent played by Kendrick, who uses him to become a target in a sting operation, a terroristic sting operation to look good at work.
Sure.
That's basically it.
So she has to produce arrests, and they have to show that they're getting stuff done and removing terrorists from our streets. So the notion is that these FBI agents and Homeland Security in general is setting people up, entrapping people so they can arrest them for terrorist activity. So Moses and his little clan, they get set up basically.
Yes, yeah,
their intentions are not malicious. They're extremely anti-violent. They don't want to make use of any firearms. They don't want to hurt anyone.
They're groomed to be targets in a grand scheme.
Sure. So I think that premise is pretty predictable how it's going to pan out. I think I was explaining to you after we watched it, I think this is an interesting film in that the comedy, it's 2 sides. It's the side of these black militant people, 4 guys, and then even Danielle Brooks' character. And then it's the law enforcement side.
Yeah, it's establishment versus anti-establishment.
So the anti-establishment, that group, they're sort of dialogue, the act. I mean, everything about them is just so humorous, so likable.
Perfectly in sync.
Yes,
you could say.
Yes. He's a total weirdo. Obviously, they make mention of his medication for he seemed, I'm assuming he's schizophrenic.
Yeah, he thinks animals talk to him when he's not on his meds.
It just works so perfectly. But then the humor from the establishment, the FBI agents, police, Homeland Security, whatever, it's just so it's just difficult to sit through because it's...
I think they do gain some traction about 3/4 into the film, but yeah, the first several scenes with Denis O'Hare and Anna Kendrick are... The dialogue feels very flat. And this was written by...
And dated.
This was written by Jesse Armstrong, who was nominated for an Oscar for In the Loop, which a decade ago in 2009 was kind of set the stage for political satire, which is a really great film. But I think it's very much in the same vein as In the Loop.
So again, I do like this film. I think it's well done, well acted. And overall, I think the humor is provocative.
Yes, for sure. But it's a hard sell because white audiences don't like to see how they really are, which is, horrible
trash, the devil.
Horrible people playing a game with lives and not realizing the damage they cause. and there are no white saviors. It's very downbeat.
Sure. I mean, I won't go that far. I'll say, well, no, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that I think that, like, the notion that in this case, like FBI, police, Homeland Security, their goal is to produce. It's almost like a business. So they have to make arrests. They don't care about how it ruins people's lives or if they're not really getting people off the streets who are a danger. So that
Reaganomics.
So that premise is real and appropriate for this film. And I do like provocative, edgy things. I think the ending of this film is definitely like a hard pill to swallow. And I liked it.
Well, because it's also against the trend of like the director of Hidden Figures who made up history and having to show white people doing the right thing, which they do not in this case, which is more true to life. But
sure. Again, overall, I think it is a well done, darkly comedic film. I just think some of the comedic elements involving race weren't.
They felt a little.
The whole like black, brown, like Middle East, just like these very basic jokes that to me sound very like 2005.
Well, and as you said, it felt like it was written by a white person.
It feels like it's written by a white person who thinks they're like edgy and like but progressive and they see the big picture like 12 years ago. Just some parts, but overall I think it's funny. Like the person who wrote this has a strong comedic voice. It's funny. So I just think there's some jokes specifically, like there are a handful of jokes that I just thought felt dated and unnecessary, and had those been extracted.
It's very on the nose, about an unarmed white man and an unarmed...
Yeah, like a joke about, like, if you have an unarmed white man and an unarmed black man, who's more likely to have a gun? There were just some things that I just didn't necessarily feel like...
landed.
And then, like, Jim Gaffigan makes an appearance in the movie as a white supremacist or, like, a Nazi. But he's working for the police undercover to set. So there's an instance where, like, the FBI and the police are setting up two sets of people, and they're, like...
Yeah.
So it kind of cancels each other out. But it does ultimately end in arrests, which don't go well. But even that character, I don't know that I needed that. Like, why did it have to be like these racist ass? Because then their back and forth just seemed very, just very dated. Not that those things aren't real, but they weren't for me like nuanced enough to not feel icky. Like,
but there will be some people that watch this and find that very. Much more provocative, I think, than you did.
Sure. So I think for that, I would give this film 3 out of 5 stars.
Sure. There's a couple things to talk about.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So Christopher Morris, who is a very edgy British comedian, his first movie was Four Lions in 2010.
Okay.
So he's done some episodes of Veep since then, but it's taken 9 years. This filmed in secret in the Dominican Republic in the middle of 2017, actually.
Okay.
So I think that the subject matter and everything has made it kind of a hard process to get to where it is finally. But Four Lions is a comedy about 4 terrorists led by Riz Ahmed who carry off their terrorist plan. And that felt a lot more risque than this, for sure. But I feel like The Day Shall Come is a counterpart to that film because it's also showing a group of people who are carelessly following ideals and institutions to the, I guess, illogical extremes, but in this it becomes logical, without really recognizing the juxtaposition with humanity. And when it happens, that's when the film takes on, it moves from absurdity to kind of like a bleakness, for lack of a better word. So I don't know, I think it's an interesting conversation with that, his earlier film, for sure. Is there anybody else you want to mention?
I did like the gentleman who he's the one who tries to, initially he tells him he can get them $50,000 from his uncle.
Oh, so that's Kaitlyn Novak, who played the super idiot in Four Lions. So
okay, I did like him.
Yeah, he's a nice screen presence for sure.
Yeah.
And you're not a fan of Anna Kendrick usually. I thought she was fine. She's
fine.
I thought she navigated this a little better. Dennis O'Hara.
Well, her brand is like, I don't know, I feel like she's kind of bitchy. She even does those commercials for, oh God. She does some commercial for like an insurance company, or she's like the spokesperson. And that character she plays is also like bitchy. And
Yeah.
So.
Well, even her Oscar-nominated role, Up in the Air, is a little similar to this, actually, now that I think of it. Oh, the point I wanted to make was this felt, I kept thinking of Nightcrawler a lot, you know, with Jake Gyllenhaal, who manufactured dilemmas for his own career. And also, it reminds me of a failed William Friedkin film from 1983, where Chevy Chase plays an arms dealer and Gregory Hines is his partner. It also stars Sigourney Weaver. And they are selling weapons, advanced military weapons to revolutionaries. And that was a black comedy in 1983, and it failed miserably at the box office. No one wanted to see it. So I think this is just a subject matter people don't want to engage with at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because it's real, and I think this is a good movie. So.
For sure, but even you did not want to watch it.
Because I don't like being on, you know, I just, not for good reason, I guess, because I should be challenged, but I just kind of knew how this would make me feel, and it did make me feel the way I predicted, but I don't want to. I'm glad I watched it because I do think the talent in it was strong, and I really did like the lead actor. What's his name again?
Marchánt Davis.
Yeah, I really did like him.
Yeah, he's really good. I thought this was an interesting. It's also kind of an interesting counterpart to Spike Lee's, albeit a period piece, Black Klansman, which you still need to see. But anyway, yeah. What did you give it?
I gave it 3 out of 5.
I give it 3.5 out of 5.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.